Okay, it's... Ooh, okay. Don't do it.
She's got a knife. Oh, Jesus.
She's not gonna do it.
She's going to...
Well, I hope you guys are ready for a little crime mystery thriller which deals with child abduction. A very dark theme, to be honest with you. As we are checking out a little banger by the name of Conway Disappearance at Dahlia View. Now, this is a game that's brought to us by a team behind the games Ether 1, which came out quite a few years back, and The Occupation, which I think like 2 years ago I played that one on the channel. What I do remember from The Occupation, and even though this felt like a definitely still an indie team, the quality for that was surprisingly high. This here, what I've seen from screenshots, trailers, reminded me a lot of a Telltale Walking Dead game series just based on the trailer alone. It plays very similar to that, except here we're dealing with, obviously, the abduction of a child. Let's get to it.
Jenny, come on. You're going to miss it.
Tell them to start without me. I need to check on Marie.
She'll be fine. You don't need to check on her every 5 minutes. Come on, it's starting.
Okay, you're right.
Okay, well now we're apparently jumping 14 years later. So that abduction apparently has something to do with the game's abduction, I imagine. But it might prove to be like one of those, like, you know, recurring things.
For the best
series of
part my
abductions.
later years,
Good God, you're loud.
I worked as a private investigator. I'd seen many a terrible case. Sadly, most of them unresolved. But in 1954, something terrible and far closer to home happened that I could not avoid. And it happened right here, in Dahlia View.
Alright, first and foremost, apologies. I know I'm gonna have to do a small edit and post-editing for the intro right there. As I've mentioned, as you probably heard me, that just blew my eardrums out. I've never heard anybody speak to me that loud in my ear before. It was insane. So I'll make sure to level it down for you guys so you guys don't suffer the same fate I just did. For now, let's get our boy here onto his wheelchair. I did forget to mention that, didn't I?
Now where's my camera? I need to see what's going on outside my window.
And you guys probably heard all the commotion going on in the background too.
Now, I can get a closer look.
Let's go ahead and be old creeping peeping Tom, huh?
What on earth is all the commotion?
I don't know, seems like a crime scene there. What do we got here? Tony Morgan's blood. Blunt force trauma.
Oh, that's Tony Morgan's blood. Oh my God, I hope he's all right. Please let him be all right. A smashed plant pot. I must have slipped through it. I should have come to my window sooner. Harold Levy owns most of the flats in Dahlia View. I wonder if he saw something. Theodore and Annabelle McKee, I believe. I really should get to know my neighbors better.
Mm-hmm.
Might have to zoom in for a closer look. Chloroform? What on earth?
Probably to abduct the child, I imagine. Knock him out. Can't do much. Oh, here we go. A fellow peeper just like us. Oh, I have a couple of these here in my apartment complex.
Old Mrs. Doer. She's usually peering through her window watching our neighbors.
Mm-hmm.
It's past her bedtime. Bound during abduction. Dear
Wow.
God. Charlotte May, Mr. Morgan's daughter, has been kidnapped.
What about this thick mama over here?
Shirley Downs. She runs the Crow's Nest. Her office overlooks the courtyard. A kidnapping right on my doorstep. Who doesn't bear thinking about? Imagine if it was Catherine. Time to pay my neighbors a visit and see what they know.
Taking our objective book here?
Charlotte May could only be 7 or 8 years old. Why would someone want to take her? It doesn't make any sense.
That's because there's a lot of sick people out there, my dude. Well, at least our apartment is, wheelchair friendly. Hey, folks. Any, information?
Hello, Mr. Conway.
Good evening.
Terrible what's happened, isn't it?
So you know what happened?
They're looking for a kidnapper. A search is about to start in the Pine Woods.
My sister, Shirley, she owns the pub across the way. The searchers are all meeting there first.
What do you know about the kidnapping, Mr. Conway?
Not much. That's why I'm talking to the pair of you.
You should talk to the old busybody over in her big manor house.
Mrs. Doer.
She knows everything that goes on here. I wouldn't be surprised if she saw the kidnapper.
I wouldn't be surprised if she was the kidnapper.
That's an awful thing to say.
Well, have you seen her? Always fawning over that little girl. All alone in that big house. Plenty of room to hide someone.
I can see that you've put a lot of thought into this, Mrs. McKee.
A little too much, love.
Well, I'm not the only one who thinks it.
Oh, blast. What time is it?
It must be a little after midnight by now, surely.
The search is starting without me. I have to get my coat. You'll forgive me, Mr. Conway?
Yes, good night.
Good night, Mr. Conway.
We'll talk again soon.
And so the finger pointing begins. You know that person over there? Yeah, I never really got a good feel about them, you know? They're a little weird. Well, let's go ahead and follow up on the lady who apparently keeps tabs on everybody there. I wonder if I could... Oh yeah, we could interact with this too.
It never fails to amaze me what some people are capable of.
Yep. Well, I think that's enough basically we have from the pictures.
Conway, may I have a moment?
We just really want to talk to the neighbors more than likely. Yep, I was actually coming your way, Mrs. Dorr.
Do you know what's happened?
Never mind all that. Your daughter is a police officer, is she not?
She is.
Here, I found this.
What's this then?
A brooch. I found it on the floor here. It probably belonged to that poor girl. Thought I'd better pick it up before Shirley Downs gets her mitts on it.
What do you mean by that?
Never mind. Perhaps you can make sure it finds its way to your daughter.
I will, and thank you for telling me.
Just doing my duty.
Can you tell me what you meant about Shirley?
Good night, Mr. Conway.
Did you see anything else at all?
Just make sure to give your daughter that brooch.
So you're gonna be the sister of the girl across the street, right?
Miss Downs, do you have a moment?
I'm sorry. What did you say?
I can come back if you need some time.
No, it's fine. I'm just... I can't believe this is happening so close to home. Well, maybe I can.
What do you mean by that?
Not everyone in Dahlia View is as they seem, Mr. Conway.
Miss Downs, who are you referring to?
That son of a bitch right there, with the smug look on his face.
Mr. Levy?
Why not? I mean, what do you really know about him?
Well, I pay him my rent once a fortnight, but no other than that. I didn't really speak to the man.
Well, sadly I do. He's up to something. You must have noticed all the strange deliveries, coming and going at night.
You think he took Charlotte May?
I wouldn't be surprised.
I'm sorry. Miss Downs, what are you basing this on?
Experience, Mr. Conway. You'll excuse me, I need to help the police with their search.
Basically, everybody's doing just pointing fingers at each other. So the first couple pointing over at the old lady pointing at Shirley, and Shirley apparently pointing to this guy over here, who does look relatively shady, to be honest with you. Kind of looks like a guy to be like a villain in a Dick Tracy movie or comic.
Good evening, Mr. Levy.
Evening.
How strange times we live in when a girl can be taken on our doorstep.
You ain't wrong. It's a bloody mess.
Did you see what happened at all?
Bruh.
How well did you know Charlotte May? You lived next door. You must have seen her a lot.
I hope they're gonna clean all this mess up tonight. I've got a business to run.
I'm sure this must be a great inconvenience to you.
That reminds me. Rent day tomorrow. Don't be late.
I haven't forgotten.
Good. Keep it that way, and we'll get along just fine.
May I ask what you were doing tonight?
No.
Wow.
There's Mr. Morgan.
Yeah, you know, it's an inconvenience to my business. Never mind the little child has been apparently abducted and God knows what else at this point. Interesting notes, too. Kind of gave me like more of a Penguin vibe, even though I mentioned Dick Tracy. Like, everybody has a very interesting look. It does have that, like, you know, Walking Dead, Telltale Walking Dead, like, art style to it, like, where it's semi-realistic, but also very cartoonish at the same time. Like, you could tell easily with this dude here with his, hook nose, I guess.
Hello, Mr. Morgan. My name is Robert Conway. I live in flat 23.
Yes, I've seen you around, Mr. Conway.
Well, you see, I thought I'd better come over and check you're okay. Some of our neighbors seem to be content just to stare. I'm so sorry to hear about your daughter.
Very kind of you. I'm sorry, but I'm late joining the search. I've been talking to the police for over an hour.
Of course, I understand. The police officer you spoke to was most likely my daughter.
Is that so?
Yes, she's a very determined young lady. If anyone is going to find your daughter, it's her. I was once a private investigator myself, so I know how her mind works.
Well, it's comforting to know I'm surrounded by such competent minds, Mr. Conway.
I'd like to offer my services too, if you'd permit me.
That's very kind, but I don't have money, I'm afraid.
Mr. Morgan, no. I'm a father myself. I meant to say that I'm at your disposal.
Very generous, but the police said that...
All I'd be doing is observing and talking to people. And if I find anything, I'll be sure to share it with Catherine.
Catherine?
My daughter, the police officer.
Right, of course.
That reminds me. I have this brooch. Does this mean anything to you?
That's Charlotte May's.
You see how the simplest detail can be overlooked, even by the police. Best to have as many eyes on the case, in my experience.
I see your point. May I have it back, please?
Would you mind if I kept onto it for a day or so, in case it was to have some use?
Yes, of course. If you think it would help. I would very much like you to return it, though.
As soon as I have something to report back to you. You have my word.
So, where do you suppose you'd begin?
Well, right here.
In Dahlia View?
Yes. It's my experience that it's usually someone who knows the victim.
Do you mean to tell me that one of my neighbors has my girl?
No. I'm merely saying that it's a logical place to start.
Now I see. That's why the police searched my house. Because I'm a suspect, I suppose.
That's the way it works, I'm sorry to say.
So they're not even looking for the real kidnapper?
I can assure you they will be.
Tell me, Mr. Conway, and be honest. Are you going to look for my girl?
I promise you, I'll stop at nothing until I find her. For now, I need you to think of anyone who could have taken Charlotte May.
I don't know.
Think, anyone or anything at all.
Mr. Conway, who do you know who could do such a thing?
I see your point. Well, for now, perhaps try to get some rest. Charlotte May needs you to be strong for her.
You'll excuse me, Mr. Conway. I'm going to join the search and find my little girl.
That's fair enough, Mr. Morgan. Good night, and good luck.
Good night, Mr. Conway.
Well, that went as expected. I mean, it's usually the case, though, right? It's not too often, not saying it doesn't happen, but it's not too often. I mean, it's more often than not, I guess, would be more ideal to say that it's somebody close to home involved with certain disappearances than just a random stranger. Obviously, that's not always the case, but the majority of the times anyway. What I'm curious, and I hope we eventually get the chance to find out and ask this dude, is... yeah, we'll get to your objective at some point. If we have his blood here, he obviously had a bandage. I mean, how did that happen? I mean, when was he knocked out outside? Did it happen when he ran out? There's also the broken pot plant right there. Is that involved with the blood? I hope we get eventually it's bloodstained with metal flecks. No, if it's metal, then it wouldn't be that, I don't think.
Mr. Morgan must have taken quite a hit.
Huh. I mean, I'm curious where this happened. It must have happened here, right? Otherwise, we'd have like a trail if he was bleeding. So he was like knocked out, somebody went inside, took the girl? I don't know. Well, I'm sure we'll talk to Mr. Morgan eventually sometime. Right now, what's the objective? I should return home. Piece of information. Alright.
Dad?
Catherine.
Okay, the daughter. Who is the police officer
I
now?
might bump into you tonight.
Well, I shouldn't be here. What with you living so close. Conflict of interest and all.
Are you finished here?
Almost, yes. Are you okay?
Yes, I'm fine. It's poor Charlotte May I'm worried about. Anyway, look at you. I rarely get to see you in your uniform. You look good.
Thank you. I wish it was a little more comfortable.
Catherine, can I ask, what have you found?
I'm not allowed to tell you. You know that. Besides, I don't have all the details myself, and my sergeant isn't exactly forthcoming with new recruits.
Hang in there. You're an asset. They'll come to see how intelligent you are.
Thank you. All I can say is that it looks as though Tony Morgan's daughter has been kidnapped.
Awful news. May I ask why they're searching the Pine Woods? Do they know where the kidnapper went?
No. It's a dead end. We're clueless, but we can't be seen to be doing nothing. And the locals suggested the woods, so...
Dear God. I perhaps wonder if I should talk to my neighbors again.
Hang on, again?
Yes, Catherine, I've been thinking, and...
Dad!
What?
I know this is happening on your doorstep, but Please, don't get any ideas.
I'm a naturally curious person, you know that.
You don't do this anymore. Leave it to us, please.
Well, do the police have any ideas?
Dad, I mean it. Don't get involved.
Well, I'd like to help you.
I want to do this on my own.
I didn't realize what this means to you.
I meant to say, I want to do it the right way. By the book. Please promise me.
Okay. I promise. I'll leave the police work up to you.
Thank you. Anyway, I'd better be off. I have to make a statement before the morning press. My sergeant is finally trusting me with something.
Well, you'd better hurry. I'll look out for your article in the morning paper.
Right. I'm off. Please go back inside. You'll catch a chill.
Night, my love.
Night, Dad.
The last thing I want is to upset Catherine. I can tell how serious she is about her case. I've never seen her so driven. I suppose I'll still develop the photos I've taken of the crime scene. I might have captured something that the police did not. And I won't be stepping on Catherine's toes if I stay in my flat and out of the way.
So far, I gotta say, the voice acting is really, really good. Definitely impressed by it. Nothing has seemed off so far. Which is really important for games like this. If you got bad voice acting, it could really be a turn-off, especially in a very story-centric game.
The police have marked out several pieces of evidence that are likely related to the attack. However, Mrs. Doer handed me a brooch that was found at the scene. Mr. Morgan later confirmed it belonged to Charlotte May. Could the brooch be a missing piece of the puzzle?
So we want to connect the brooch somewhere? Well, it's not going to be here because apparently it was found near the old lady's place. So it'd be here.
So, if Mrs. Doer was right about where she found the brooch, it means the kidnapper must have come past her manor house at some point during the abduction. I forgot to give Catherine the brooch. There just hasn't been a good time. It sounds like I have mail.
Indeed it does.
Now what's this?
Let's see. Suspects. I apologize for my shortness last night, Mr. Conway. I realized that you were trying to help me. I've already told the police, but the only people who I think would have taken Charlotte May are our neighbors. The McKees, Harold Levy, Shirley Downs, and old Mrs. Doer, who have access to the courtyard. You said yourself, and I think you might be onto something. More eyes on the case can be a good thing. Thank you again for offering to help.
Mr. Morgan's note implicates most of his neighbors. I had suspected as much, but now I have something solid to work with. Catherine has asked me not to get involved, but I've already promised Mr. Morgan I'll find Charlotte May. I should have told Catherine there and then. I'm already involved. I can feel it again. That drive, that first pull at the yarn. It's all on this evidence board. Suspects, victims, items found at the scene. I have everything. All that remains is to watch over my neighbors until one of them makes a mistake, and I can still give Catherine her space. If the whole town is searching the Pinewoods, someone needs to keep an eye over Dahlia View. I've been sitting watching my neighbors on and off for hours, but I've seen nothing of any use for my evidence board. Tony Morgan suggested that the McKees were acting strangely around Charlotte May. I heard Theodore return home earlier this evening, but didn't manage to get a glimpse. Charlotte May is counting on me to find her, but so far I've drawn a blank. Perhaps the McKees are innocent. Only time will tell.
Well, there's the wife. There is the husband. Anything sketchy in there? Not quite. It's Morgan. Getting some more missing posters.
Annabelle and Theodore seemed normal enough when we spoke last night. By their account, they didn't see much at all. Why would Mr. Morgan ask me to watch them?
Ooh. Okay, well that was abnormal. Just tugged her in there.
Theodore looks unhappy about I don't know what.
Yeah.
He's pacing back and forth.
That's an understatement.
It seems heated.
Right, she's coming back. So is he.
I still have no idea what the problem is. Perhaps this is what Mr. Morgan was talking about.
Seem a bit, suspect of what's happening in his room. Why is that? What are you looking at?
Now, Annabelle is... Annabelle has seen something just out of my view. Whatever it is, she's horrified by it. What on earth is it?
And Theodore looks very, worried, devastated himself.
What are you thinking, Annabelle? What can you see?
Okay, it's... Ooh, okay. Don't do it.
She's got a knife. Oh, Jesus.
She's not going to do it.
She's going to... No. She wants Theo to use it.
And a hammer? Pick your weapon, I guess, of choice.
He doesn't know which one to use.
I mean, look. Just playing devil's advocate here a little bit. What if, we can't see what's behind that, but it doesn't look like it can't be that big, whatever's back there, right? What if it's like a mouse or something caught in a trap and it's still alive somehow, but I don't know, man. I'm trying to think of something here. It's still alive, it's still kind of kicking. Maybe it's got like a broken leg or something, and now it's like go over there and finish the job. And I don't know. I'm just trying to play devil's advocate here. It just doesn't seem.
Do it.
I mean, we don't know what he's doing.
Whatever it is, take pause of yourself.
Now you're probably wondering why would he be that worried, this worried about it if it's just a mouse falcon. I mean, I don't know, dude. It's a living creature. Well, what are you, a sociopath? I don't know. I wouldn't kill a mouse if it was in a trap. I couldn't.
Theo, who are you talking to? Is that a practice swing? Dear God. What have I just witnessed? Some time has passed since I saw Theo hit something with a mallet. I didn't actually see anything. No proof. I have no evidence at all.
Well, it might be 40 minutes later, but unfortunately, I'm over 40 minutes myself, so I have to cut it off here for this one. Hopefully, you guys have enjoyed. And to be honest with you, I'm quite impressed. As I mentioned, the voice acting really is good. And obviously, the air of mystery is there. We have a serious issue with a child abduction. Now, paranoia is starting to seep in a little bit. I mean, good job. Absolutely good job with this one. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. All the information will be down below. I'll catch you guys next time.